I am so grateful for our friends at Blue Microphones. Not only have they completely changed what our show sounds like, they've given me headphones so I can monitor things better. This is the mic for millions of creative people, and now I know why. I'm so grateful for them completely changing the quality of our audio. You'll find Blue mics like Yeti and the Mouse, which we're using here, both in pro studios and home studios, literally all over the world. Their popular Yeti caster is a Blue Yeti microphone plus a boom arm system that's behind many of your favorite podcasts. I run into them all the time, and now I know why. If you've ever thought about creating your own podcast or YouTube channel, Blue can make you sound and look great. Just visit bluemic.com and click Get Started, and you can start telling your story. Well, I too have struggled with GI issues over the years. I have something called Lynch syndrome, so gut health is extremely important to me. And while gut health awareness has increased, it's led to a wellness trend that's inspired a host of questionable marketing and some false claims. Now, you've seen the word probiotic attached to all kinds of supplements, drinks, even more. They may claim to deliver the healthy microorganisms our gut needs for proper function, but all too often the promises are in fact too good to be true. Thankfully, I became aware of a company called Seed and their flagship product, the Daily Synbiotic. Seed's Daily Synbiotic offers 24 clinically researched strains of microorganisms in a single dose. These strains support gut health and can improve regularity and relieve bloating, sometimes within as little as 24 to 48 hours. To me, what really sets Seed's Daily Synbiotic apart is the delivery system. While some products may offer the right strains, they're fragile, they rarely survive the trip through the gut, doesn't get where it needs to go, but Seed uses a capsule-in-capsule design that helps ensure the probiotic reaches your colon, which is where they often are needed. I've been taking Seed's Daily Symbiotic, and I really encourage you to check out their story and the science behind what they do. To try it for yourself, just go to seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20 for 15% off your first month of Daily Synbiotic. That is SEED.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20.
Oops. Hey, everyone. It's a dose of Dr. Drew. And look at all those great sponsors.
Yes. And with these guys were my constant companion while we were in New York and traveling about. Yes.
And Halidine.
Halidine, which, by the way, if you're, there's a lot of anxiety about effectiveness of masks out there. And I did the Halidine nase swab and gargle, and I made Susan do it. Mouthwash. I made Susan do it because it really does improve the efficacy of masks. And if people are worried about the efficacy of masks, this is something you can do that's pretty simple.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
When you did it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
A betadine douche.
Well, that's kind of what it is, but it's a douche for your mouth and nose instead of other.
Which I had to have after my pregnancy.
Ah, good to know. Mm-hmm. Good to know. Is that my camera right there, or is it over there?
Yeah, it did a lot of good too.
Susan?
I haven't had to do it in a long time though.
Is this my camera in front of me,
yes.
or the one to the side? Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to have a Zoom party here, but I am on Restream also.
Very last minute Zoom meeting today.
Yeah, Susan got inspired and she wanted to put a Zoom party together here off of Locals. I think my producer, Susan Pinsky, has gotten inspired or sort of enthusiastic about trying all kinds of different social platforms. We've been using Clubhouse to take phone calls.
We have Restream. See everybody there.
We've been getting out on Twitch. Where else we wanted to go somewhere
Locals, else. drdrew.com/locals. You can be in the Zoom meeting right now if you sign up. And some of our regulars are here. We love them.
Yep.
But it's a new, they're going to have streaming platform too eventually.
On Locals?
Yeah, we'll get there. Also, thanks everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining. We're also Clubhouse is kind of cool. We use that as a call-in studio this week on our show, and when we were in New York. So we're going to start incorporating some of the people from there on the show. We'll be able to tap them in. Hopefully Wednesday. Caleb will have it all figured out for me.
So shall we do any COVID review, or do you want to just go right to the Zoom?
Maybe we should say hi to our friends.
On the Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sue's here. Wait, let me find the right room. Okay.
The right room. There's everybody.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, folks. How are you? Hey. I see Whis Chris. I see Tom Cigar.
Waving.
I see.
I told him to mute.
Oh, look
themselves.
at Tom's got a Iwan. Good for you, man. Good for you. I've got a. We wanted to go on a cruise. Susan and I did, and they canceled on us. And then lo and behold, all the companies that I'm working for are very interested in helping making cruise safe again. I think the cruise industry is really, really hurting.
What
So we have
happened to
to.
all the banners I put in here?
So we have to find ways. Oh, Joe's there as a snapshot, not as a
Oh, he's
not as a
probably at
video on
work
the
or
couch.
something.
All right, fair enough.
I had everything all set up and keeps falling out. I think my computer missed me.
Who do I hear? Is that Kelly? Do I hear you? No.
Okay, so
Hi, Joe. Joe with his.
you can unmute.
Hey, Drew. How was your trip back from New York?
It's great, easy, nothing to it. We noted a couple things. Like we said, we were using Halidine for the mask, making the masks work, and that was reassuring. The airport at Newark was insanely busy at the United Terminal, like uncomfortably busy. Were I not a immunologically covered individual, I worried about other people. Susan seemed fine, of course. She seems to be one of these people that doesn't get COVID so far, and so we'll see. But yeah, it was a great trip. I mean, we love New York. It was the restaurant.
Because I use a better
The
time
one thing I
douche.
noticed, Joe, you'll appreciate this statistically, is that New York has 20 million people. California has 40 million people. California right now, the daily case rate is 4,600, and New York, I believe, is about 8,500. So in spite of essentially half the population, you have twice the case rate, and yet everything is open, and the case rate is continuing to decline. Let me make sure I'm right on that.
I have a hypothesis to that.
Let's hear.
So my hypothesis is there was a paper that came out in April. It was a multi-continent paper about COVID and its spread. And what they found was that in areas they kind of singled out different areas, and I'll post the paper on Locals. Temperatures that were between 41 and 53 degrees Fahrenheit, and humidity between 40 and 70%.
Yeah.
And a latitude of 30 to 50 degrees seem to be the hottest spots, which now that we're in springtime, in the northern areas of the country, and Drew, if you can, I want you to go to COVID Tracking Project and check Virginia. Virginia is getting an uptick.
Oh, really?
That's
and
interesting.
right now, Virginia is in that average area that I pretty much told you. And so the New York metropolitan area is their norms around, I would say 3 weeks from now, are going to be in that ballpark figure.
So both.
My hypothesis with New York is we're going to see a flat line, maybe even a slight increase in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
That's what it looks like. And it looks about the same as Virginia, really. Is that the point you're making?
My point is you're going to see either a flat line or you're going to start seeing a creep up.
Yeah, there's a yeah. And that is due to humidity and temperature?
Temperature, humidity, and latitude.
Latitude. Yeah, I know latitude has been a big part of it. What's that,
Look
Susan?
at that uptick on new deaths.
Let's see
here.
what that is. Virginia?
Yeah, look at that.
Don't look at that.
Yeah,
Don't look at that.
That's just reporting. That's reporting here.
Don't look at that. That's an audit. That's an audit.
Yeah.
Historical?
So what's happening
No.
What's happening also
Yeah.
is that many states are now doing backlog audits.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the problem with that. The problem with that, and this is why I'm sorry, Susan, but I have to say this.
Go ahead.
The CDC has to be checked, because now the CDC director comes out and says, well, we're seeing an uptick in deaths. Well, the problem is the uptick in deaths is coming from backlogs and audits.
It does seem like, I have endless respect for Dr. Fauci and the CDC, but lately it has seemed like they don't know what they're talking about, or they don't check what they're talking about. Is that about a way to go say it, Joe?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is, well, first off, and it's a bummer that COVID tracking project is coming to an end. I mean, we have some stuff on locals that people can see for free. To check on all the states around, are in the country. And so you could check there. You easily check on locals. We're gonna repost it as well.
Great.
Before COVID tracking ends on March 7th.
People are celebrating that I said that the CDC didn't seem to know what they were talking about. You're not going to pull me away from my beloved CDC. Trust me. I'm talking to the Restream, not to Joe.
Yeah, and also YouTube.
And I have literally 40 years of experience with Dr. Fauci, and you're not going to pull me away from him either. I understand the weaknesses. And it's okay. I'm being a little critical. Even though I'm an enthusiast of the organization, I can still be critical. That's fine. But I still think that's where you direct your attention if you want to understand how to get through this
Somebody
thing. Now,
sent me an email and asked me if he's too old right now to be the
he
same.
sure seems sharp to me. But,
I know.
But be that as it may, I do think there's a weird. We did notice an interesting thing. There's this weird reluctance, and Fauci is guilty of this, of beginning to think about how we get out of this. In other words, Susan and I have filled out a half dozen questionnaires. Oh, more than that, probably 20 questionnaires this week. And not one of them asked, have you been vaccinated or have you had COVID?
Right.
If so, when? And which vaccine or whatever.
It's just what's your email
It's
and
just,
if we're going to find you.
Yeah. And it to me, that just shows me we're not preparing for the population. And literally, I've seen people on the internet, social media, of course, say, oh, it's not fair if we have two populations. It's not fair.
It's not fair
are we
that I'm
5-year-olds?
old and you're
Are we
young, okay?
5-year-olds? We should. What's fair is we got to get people back to work and kids in school. That's what we need to do. Anything, however we do that, it's got to get done. Fairness is a primitive concept that 5-year-olds worry about.
Right.
Adults worry about more complicated, nuanced, multiple sets of priorities. Oh my God! It really is.
It's annoying.
Woo! It's breathtaking to really see it in action. We of course will try. People need to try to be fair, but it's not the only God you serve. You have to. There are other gods in the interest of something bigger than fairness, such as keeping people out of poverty, keeping people at work, feeding their children. I mean, making kids, rescuing kids from mental health crises. It's not lives versus money. It's lives versus lives. You understand me? It's lives we're trying to save from COVID and lives we're trying to preserve from poverty and mental health crises. It's lives versus lives. So come on now. Let's be adults about this and
now they
try
want
to
to
find ways
test.
out.
Now they want to test everybody who goes to the restaurants to see if they're spreading the germ and let us know whether or not we should go back to the restaurant or not.
But I have no problem.
How much
Let's
time?
do more testing.
Can
Let's
we
do more
stop
testing.
it? Just stop spending money on stuff like this and just give everybody the vaccination.
So,
That's me. That's coming out of me. Okay, not
right.
Drew.
I actually wanted to change the topic since we've been talking
Go
about
ahead.
COVID for the last year.
Please.
I want to talk about you on game shows.
Me on game shows. Yeah, what about me on game shows?
Well, I mean, it's
Have you been
something
talking to
different.
Susan?
I mean, it's funny because one of the things on locals right now is your appearance on Wheel of Fortune.
I saw that. Did you put that up?
No, but I put your
pox.
appearance
I wonder
on
if I could
Millionaire.
play
I put
it.
your appearance on Millionaire.
Oh, that's right. You did the millionaire thing. Chris, you did the one? Which one did you put up, Chris?
I happened to stumble upon it on your own Reddit channel. I was like, "Oh, this is fun."
yeah,
What
that's
was it
right.
on? What was I on? What
You're
was
on
it?
Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, when I was like 21, 24, whatever that was.
You looked rather dashing.
the week I met you.
Yeah, Susan and I met that week.
You were
Did he
not
have the
lucky.
mullet
You were
then?
not lucky on that show, but you were lucky in love.
And what's wrong with Susan? She thought that guy would be a good guy to hang out with. Ugh.
Well, Jack liked you, so
And-
talk about having the cards in your favor, pal.
And they, I had not seen that footage until they played it for me on Ellen. Was that part of what you put up, the whole Ellen thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find it right now.
I didn't put it up on Reddit. You have a whole community dedicated to you, and I was like, "Well, I haven't been here before,"
That's
so
funny.
I checked it out. That was the number one
Joe.
comment in your Reddit thread.
The Wheel of
Community.
Fortune from 1984.
Wait, I'm trying to find it. I'm
They're
scrolling
only
through
true.
1,000
How was
Casey
Reddit?
posts.
How was it? Was it a scary place?
No, Reddit's great. I
No,
love
no,
Reddit.
for me.
Here it is. I
No.
found it.
No,
I found
Reddit
it.
loves you.
Here, let me put the picture in so everybody can see it.
This is gonna be terrible. We're holding my breath.
Wait.
Thank you, Chris, for torturing me.
I'm
like
going
this.
to cover everybody up, but this is pretty funny.
It's what I do.
Okay, here we go. There he is. Kids.
Oh, look at those glasses. Oh, this is the Ellen thing.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. Let's watch together.
Oh no.
What else you like?
This
to
is
do?
the Ellen. The Ellen did this to me.
Things. I sing opera when I have a little bit of time, like a tea. Please.
Oh, stop it.
No tea.
I'd like to
Is there
buy a
tea?
vowel. Oh.
Stop it.
Hold on.
Susan, stop it. Kid you not. You're worse than Ellen.
They didn't have an end.
I must tell you.
Oh, this is actually the important part. Let this play.
But I've lived in
I don't know if
fear
people can
of
hear
that
it.
coming out for 30 years.
Yeah, I told her that what I learned from her doing that to me was face your fears, because I always worried that footage would show up, and it turned out not to be as bad as I thought it would be.
It was kind of cute.
Face your fears.
Look how tall and thin he was.
Oh,
And those glasses. Oh, God. Don't you just want to make love to those glasses?
Chris is losing it.
I posted the millionaire clip
Yeah.
with you, another doctor, and John Carpenter, and you guys had the question to Robert Essig, whose nickname was Bobo, for $500,000
God.
about crayons.
Yeah.
Well,
And I remember
the reason
one.
why I bring this up is because I'm a game show aficionado. I am a diehard.
Oh
game show
well, you and I need to talk offline a little bit because I've done a fair bit of game shows. It will never happen, but I would love to host Jeopardy, and there may be something coming with Family Feud pretty soon. But I remember that Super Millionaire thing for two reasons. One, it was the only time I ever met Regis. Thank you, Regis, who was lovely. And I remember one of the crayons was like cerebral gray, brain gray or something. I was just giving you that's a kid's crayon.
It was
Anthony.
fuzzy wuzzy brown, asparagus, gray matter.
Gray matter gray. It was like, whoa.
Oh, my God.
And that was the gray matter was the one, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And you got it wrong.
I don't remember if
No, you got it right. You got it right.
Because I think I yelled it out at the last second. We ran out of time or something. Anyway, there's so many things run together when I try to remember these things. All right, who else wants to chat here? Anybody else got any topics, questions? Hi, Anthony Brown. I see you there. Oh,
Hey,
Anthony.
what's going on, everybody?
Hey, I may need a good psychiatrist in that area for a young female. Do you got any ideas?
I can check it out. Usually, I think probably Dr. Choi, but I can check it out.
All right, somebody really good, because it's a very high functioning young lady who got in a little trouble, little issues, and I think will do really well. Probably be a great case for somebody who's interested. So, all right.
Okay.
Who else?
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Kelly. I don't think I know you. What's up, Kelly? What are you doing?
I just want to say I support the rational revolution.
Yes. Talk to me. My son invented a new term, rational renaissance, which I thought was interesting. He's going to use on social media, but I'm all for. And there's Eric Anderson. Is that Eric Anderson?
Yeah, it sure is.
I'm trying to remember your post now that I liked so much.
The Cartman Triangle one.
Oh yeah. Are you a therapist?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a married family therapist.
So yeah, and I was making fun because my last time I used the Cartman Triangle, my patients called it the Cartman Triangle. And
yeah, did you see the GIF I posted?
I did.
What you said there?
I did. It was very good. So talk to people about the Cartman Triangle. I feel like, and let me before you describe it to people, I feel like we're caught in the victim persecutor zone of this thing as a country, right? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably accurate. Although I do think there's a part of the persecutor element of that is demanding so many other people take the rescuer role by just shut up and go along with what I have to say.
So well, that makes sense, right? Yeah.
So it's like I view the Cartman Triangle as like it's dynamic. So if I'm persecuting you, then I put you in the rescuer role. That eventually pisses you off. You start feeling like a victim. You move up to the victim, see me as the bad guy. Then maybe you lash out. Then maybe I think so. We're constantly bouncing around all the different roles there.
Yeah, and ultimately, I mean, that's what we would always teach patients was the idea is to get off the dance floor. This is you don't move from one to the other. You get out of the triangle. You do you get, and in my experience, it's usually been trauma as the underlying source, kind of chronic trauma, especially.
Well, I mean, trauma, whenever your trauma is activated, you're going to go into your unconscious, you're going to act out your old scripts and end up in whatever drama cycles you always end up in. So, yeah, absolutely.
The other thing, I've been thinking a lot in recent years about the sort of narcissistic turn, because when I started working in a psychiatric hospital in 1985, we used to have these admission forms, and it was the old axes diagnoses, right? So you have axis 1, which is the major psychiatric illnesses. Axis 2 is personality disorders. Axis 3 is stressors and things, if I remember right. But axis 2, when I got there, axis 2 was this sort of diverse basket. There are lots of different things. I even saw obsessive compulsive personality disorder, lots of different and interesting personality disorders. By 1988, it all was shifting, where it was narcissistic disorders, and by the mid 90s, it was exclusively that. It was all
just for the axis 2.
That's all you would see. That you wouldn't see anything. So it's all borderline narcissist, sociopath, etc. And that to me was sort of a stunning thing to watch happen. It meant something was happening in at least in the locality where I was practicing. Sure. And I think as you look large, it sort of happened everywhere. Right. And then it happened, right? And then we all sort of agreed we became more narcissistic. But I feel like we've become histrionic now. Like we've gone from narcissist to hysterical. Yes, right?
Everything is just being, and it's reinforced. It's being fed into. You get rewarded for it.
Well, rewarded for sure. I wonder if there's a causational kind of a fuel there with social media and things, or media or whatever. I mean,
you think that there's a as the tide rises and the narcissism, everyone becomes narcissistic. Yeah. So as a narcissist, you can't really stand out now that that everyone's there. You got to one up it by becoming hysterical.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I think that there's another piece too, which is we've, a lot of the old literature on personality disorders, particularly cluster B, particularly borderline, was sort of a not a tight connection to reality, right? There's sort of a looseness of things.
Right.
And they had a different way of thinking about things back then. They had psychoanalysts and things thought a lot about psychotic processes and things that I don't think were really, that valid. But I gotta say, it feels like there's a lot of psychotic process going on. By the same token, if 5 years ago somebody sat down with me and said, "Yeah, there's Nazis everywhere. I just see Nazis everywhere, and those that aren't Nazis are fascist, and they're taking over," I would say you need to go to the hospital. That's a delusion. That's a common delusional construct. And literally, I brought that up on Twitter the other day, and what I got back was, "You don't know how many there actually are. There actually are tons of Nazis and fascists," and so they believe the delusion. Of course, that's what a delusion is.
Well, in reality, it's just become so subjective, and everyone's getting their own reality reinforced on social media.
Yeah,
and it's a mess.
Yes, I agree with you. What kind of stuff are you seeing in practice?
So I specialize primarily in sex and pornography addiction. I'm a CSAT. I don't know if you're familiar with.
I am.
I was actually curious to ask you. I think I asked it on Locals. Are you familiar with the betrayal trauma model versus codependency model for partner?
I had seen. I actually gave a talk at one of the early sex addiction societies, and they were talking about that. But because I don't work in that on a regular basis, tell us about it. I've just heard of it.
It's been interesting because I think what's happened is there's been this pushback, and I think for good reason, where a lot of partners of sex addicts, after having betrayed early on in the treatment, were getting the finger pointed at them and would say gaslit from the addicts about being codependent. You're a co-addict. You need to focus on your side of this. Where just got their reality shattered and are kind of in, what the hell? How could you be accusing me of this? And so, so out of that pushback kind of was born this betrayal trauma model where their symptoms are viewed from a lens of the trauma they're experiencing from having
Yes.
their reality shattered. All of
Yes.
a sudden, you've been seeing prostitutes for the last 12 years, 30 years of our marriage, whatever it is. And of course, they're going to be fixated on the addict, fixated on that. So
Yes. Actually, they get trauma bonding too, right?
Right.
So they're the source of their desire, their bond, their attachment, and their trauma is all in one subject.
And it can look in some cases kind of borderliney because there's this push and pull. I love you, I hate you, I want to be close to you.
Yeah, flipping,
I don't know
flopping.
where you are, but I don't want to think about you. So so there's a pushback in that, but as a result, there's been this almost like codependency becomes a bad word in some of these circles, and to talk about a partner's patterns with codependency there's been a strong pushback against that, and it's a touchy subject. And when I consult with other therapists about it, there's kind of a feeling out of what camp are they in around it. So it's definitely been a thing, but I do think that there is like my goal is always I want to find the right treatment model for the client.
Yeah, what's a construct that works for that given patient? Why are there camps? Oh my God, that's bad news.
It's like there's a lot of partner coaches, and I think it's a lot of people who have done their own work and come out of that, but then are coaching other people that maybe are projecting some of their own stuff on there. It's easy to do.
There seems to be some sort of basic posture that anything other than strength, supportive, certain kinds of language, all that is somehow destructive.
Anything less than affirmative, whatever they are coming in with is seen as somehow shaming or not okay.
And shaming, but their response to anyone who dares to use language that is one step aside of theirs is to try to destroy those people and shame them.
If you're getting it wrong, if you're calling me codependent when clearly this is partner trauma, then you are trying to destroy me.
No, I mean the practitioners that someone to go after somebody who uses the word codependent.
I shudder at the idea of any therapist getting stuck in their own ideology and not seeing.
That's where I'm with you.
Where they're actually at, and I see that all the time.
I know. I am so with you on that. And again, that's another. Yeah, I was talking to a therapist once, and he goes, "I'm gonna kill somebody if I hear one more word about sex addiction or any more sex. Somebody breathes anything sex negative. Why is that sex negative? I'm not negative at all. I'm not alcohol negative. I'm not cannabis negative. Yeah. I like helping people who like to want to change but can't.
Mm-hmm. If you struggle with this specific patterns of behavior and it's continually causing problems for you and you still do it, let's come talk about it.
Let's talk about
something else. That's fine.
Well, who cares? The language, all the language around addictions is the biggest waste of time I've ever seen.
Well, the idea that the word addiction somehow became shaming
is crazy.
I don't know where the hell that
Every addict I know loves calling themselves drug addicts. They wear it with a badge of honor. And by the way, I've never met a drug addict or a person with substance use disorder who felt ashamed of it. He or she was interested in doing drugs, and that's that. Right. They're not feeling shame. It's the whole point of doing drugs. You're not feeling these things. Well, Family feels it.
People from the outside looking in get mad because they're like, well, why do we have to stigmatize it? Why do we have to call it that? It's like, you're the one stigmatizing it by saying it's this awful thing, this word.
Treating it any differently than any other medical condition is stigmatizing. It's like saying we have to have a new word for heart attack or a new word for stomach ulcer. It's like, no, that's not. Yeah, there are better words than stomach ulcer and better words than heart attack. We know what we're talking about. That's all that counts.
Sure, right.
So anyway,
we have a new fan, American Truck Syndicate.
I see him.
Yeah,
or her on Twitch.
Yeah.
Trucker's Final Smile. He's let's see what that is.
Oh, here's his shirts.
Oh.
They're all talking to him over there at Twitch.
Oh.
I don't know where Tom is. He would like.
What does that support?
It supports charity.
What?
I don't know. Here, let's go back to. I'm not talking to him. I'm just looking at. Oh, Truckers Final Mile.
Which is what? What is that? Maybe you can tell us.
He supports a truckers charity.
He's a him.
Him. Well, someone said that you were his boyfriend, so I didn't want to be. I didn't want to.
I'm his boyfriend.
It might be a her.
I watched.
It might be a they.
I watched Young Frank.
We don't know.
I watched. It's a great website, Truckers Final Mile. Fundraising, respect and dignity for the North American truck driver. Wow.
There you go. Need lots of truck drivers.
Let's see what it is. Donate, vehicle donation, memberships. I need to hear more about what it is. Okay. Interesting. I've learned something tonight.
All right. I just wanted to say hi.
My wife calls him my boyfriend because he's a fan. I watched Young Frankenstein last night where Cloris Leachman declares, yes, I am his boyfriend.
Frau Glucker.
Frau Glucker, yeah.
Oh, your eyes are looking better.
I know.
I
Raccoon.
was just about to say, my eyes they're starting to get better.
And I've been following the saga of your daughter.
You don't even try to cover it up. That's what I love about you.
She's getting good treatment now?
Well, with the mask, it covers most of it.
Yeah.
I do have to tell people when they see me, no, this isn't like a case. I tripped down a stair hiding ice cream. It's fine. My daughter, I got her into Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. I was able to have a meeting with a counselor. She was able to request a psych eval with like a rapid one, which I was told before had a 6-month wait. So I'm feeling very optimistic.
Great. And what kind of, do you mind me asking what kind of treatment are you looking for her?
Right now, we're starting with counseling because it's difficult to get any kind of specialization in regards to medicine without having initial counseling first, at least like 5 or 6 sessions. So we're starting off with counseling, then we're going to do a psych eval. Then after that, we're probably going to do a full blood panel, metabolic panel, like just kind of seeing if there's anything biological that could be triggering what's occurring with her.
How old is she now?
And 7.
And she's never had a full evaluation?
It's not since she was 3.
Okay, perfect. Good.
Yeah.
Well, good. Congratulations.
That's cool.
She fought for it and she got it.
Her mom fought for it.
That's what I'm saying.
no,
That's what I'm
that's what
saying.
it
By
is.
she, I meant
And
you.
it shows. It definitely shows.
She walks in, she goes, "Don't mess with me."
Anybody
You should
old,
see the other guy.
Yeah.
anybody
I
old
love
enough?
that you watch. Sorry, go ahead.
I love that I watch what?
I love that Young Frankenstein's one of my favorite movies because I love Madeline Kahn and like the whole I'm tired.
That's Blazing Saddles. That's Blazing
No,
Saddles.
oh shoot, you're right. Well, she's in
But she's
Young
in.
Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
too.
she is. Oh yes, she is.
My father is very rich.
Let me tell you a couple things. I got to know Cloris Leachman a little bit, worked with her a couple of times, and she said to me, she goes, I just said, I'm such a fan of this movie, and she goes, it was a perfect film. It was a perfect film that was written perfectly, executed perfectly, acted perfectly, edited perfectly. She goes, it's the best film I was ever in. That's number one. And number two, Chris, I'm also a gigantic Madeline Kahn fan. I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube or something. She's an extraordinary singer.
Yeah.
I knew she was a good singer, but she was an extraordinary singer and sort of kind of self-taught and gone too soon. I mean, when you watch her performances, they're just one of a kind. Yeah. Such a comedic genius.
I love her. Like Young Frankenstein was when she was like, "Oh, sweet mystery of life,
Yep.
at last I found you."
Yep. And I found myself thinking about poor Terry Garr too. I mean, she has like MS or something now, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Anybody?
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she does. Yeah.
Say that again.
Yes, she does.
Terry Garr. Yeah. Ugh, that's just.
See what they're saying on Restream.
Yeah, she's been on a bunch of steroids.
Oh, somebody wants to know how you got your black eyes. E. Dexter on Twitch.
Chris, you're muted.
I was going upstairs and I had really good ice cream, like the kind that comes in a pint versus the gallon bucket. And I didn't feel like sharing with my kids, so I hid it under my cardigan. And it was very cold, so I was wearing woolly socks. I have hardwood stairs. I slipped down my stairs, dropped my ice cream, and banged my head on a stair.
That's what you get for hiding it.
I know.
Is anyone besides me old enough to remember that
sorry.
there was a cigarette commercial with a black eye? Susan, you remember this? Terratin cigarette. That's exactly right.
Rather fight than switch.
That's right. Anthony, you're not old enough for that, are you?
Yeah, the funniest part was that I was laying there because Zach, my husband, heard the bang. He came running upstairs. I was laying there, and I guess I had a lot of blood coming out of my nose. And I'm like, "Is my ice cream okay?" And he's like, "Is your ice cream okay?" He was like, "Look at you." I'm like, "It was the last of it." And he's like, "Oh my God, I think you hit your head."
God.
So let me get some of the other people, if you don't mind, whom I don't know. Susan, can you click on the names?
Oh, okay.
Suzanne, do we know you, Suzanne?
I've been on quite a bit, but I've never gone on camera before.
Oh, well, that's why we don't recognize you. So how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Excellent.
I enjoy these talks, so I'm usually just quietly listening in the background.
Where are you now?
I live outside of Washington, Seattle.
Nice. Are things opening up a little bit, or how are things in Washington?
They're pretty good. I mean, I have taken the stance of not really looking at the wider media about COVID lately. And so I'm just in my own reality, in my daily life. And here, basically, you can go into a restaurant with a mask and you can go and get a coffee. You just have to keep social distance and
Sure.
So I
sensible.
follow all those rules. And other than that, I kind of, because it got too much, it just got overwhelming after a while. So really, I look at your show and I look at the science, and other than that, I kind of try to stay away from all the stuff that's happening, especially on things like Twitter and all of that.
What's fascinating to me about what you said was that you described it as now you're in your reality, which suggests that there are forces out there shaping or trying or tempting or actively shaping people's reality, which is true. You have to step back and go, okay, how can I approximate the truth? How can I figure out what's going on here, and stay close to the truth, because it's just not in the general zeitgeist right now. So congratulations.
It's really warped. I mean, if you look at Twitter, which I rarely do any longer, it's a subset. It's not real. Twitter universe is not reality. It is out there in the cloud. Is people talking, and it's not representative of the entire population either. So I just the
problem though is that the so-called traditional media or what are they called, established media picks it up as though it is factual, or at least it seems to at least respond to it, whether they like sort of generating Twitter action, so they target their sort of structure towards creating the most inflammatory material so they get more social media action, or they actually just take it off social media. A friend of mine, does everybody know who Ryan Holiday is? Let me see hands in the group. Susan, can I see the group all at once?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was doing something else. Sorry.
Hang on. I can't see the group yet. I'm going to ask the
Show of
question.
hands. Okay.
I can't see people.
My hands
there
down.
we go. Ryan Holiday. Anybody know who Ryan Holiday is?
I got to make this smaller. Sorry.
Tom Cigar, you don't know Ryan Holiday? I thought you would know him.
Yeah,
he's famous for, he wrote a bunch of Stoic philosophy books. He's famous for writing The Obstacle is the Way, or Ego is the Enemy is one of the later ones. And he's this young guy that just writes books on Stoic philosophy. And before he started doing this, he was a marketer for, what was that famous, Susie, you can maybe remember this, a famous clothing company, American something.
Apparel?
Eagle?
The American Apparel, I think it was.
Apparel.
Remember when they were a big deal? And he was the brains behind it. And he wrote a book about how he was able to do some of that. And the book was called, it was probably 12, 14 years ago he wrote this book. And the book was called Trust Me, I'm Lying. Trust Me, I'm Lying. And it was about how he got people on social media.
It was American Eagle.
American Eagle, okay.
Or American Apparel.
Which is it?
American Eagle is an airplane.
It's American Apparel. He got people to repeat things on social media so much that it became its own reality. Then he got some of these blog sites, Jezebel and Salon and stuff, to report on what was being discussed in social media as though it were factual reporting. And then the traditional media took it, and that was that. And so it was very easy for him to make that leap. And that was that was when it wasn't happening that much. Now it happens all the time. American Eagle.
The only problem, we can't get off Twitter because we use it as PR for all our shows. But
we did
get a butt full of it during the, panic porn days. So I know what you guys are talking about.
Yep. Yep.
We're getting a little better reaction to our Twitter now too.
Okay, Susan, give me names again. Click
American Eagle Apparel.
click on names again.
Oh, you want names again? Okay.
Rory, you're in Ireland, right?
Yes, I am indeed. Good morning, everyone. It's after midnight here.
Oh, I always feel bad when we get you in here at 2 a.m. It's like, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm good.
I like the wallpaper.
What's going on in Ireland?
Oh, quiet. We're actually heavily locked down here. I'm speaking to you from the north of Ireland. We tend to follow the Republic's view on things. So while England is in a strict lockdown, it's actually more strict here. Barbers, for example, have been closed for the last 2 months. So I'm back to having curly hair again. But no suggestion of reopening, I think, until at least March the 8th and possibly even beyond that.
Wow.
Are schools open?
Not until March the 8th at the earliest.
How long have they been closed?
Oh, they've been closed now for 2 months, 3 months, something like that.
Okay. Because again, we're sitting in a place when schools have been closed for a year. And with resistance to opening it up. So welcome
Makes
to the state
you
of
hide ice
California.
cream under your shirt, slip down the stairs.
Yeah.
Imagine. Well, I'm glad you're well. You look well. Are you able to get out and do anything fun?
Not really, no. Working from home, which has its ups and downs, So
What kind of work are you doing?
I work as a financial advisor. Previous to that, I was a student, studied law. I actually I did the bar exam in New York a few years ago, so I kind of know a little bit about it.
Are you coming back to the States?
Not at the moment. I'm going to work here. As I say, I worked in the finance about 5 years ago. So I think what I do is called a loan officer, where you are like a financial broker.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's
like
right.
that.
Right now, there should be a lot of action.
Yeah, pretty much. It's when things close down here, there's a huge panic for people to buy houses before it gets locked down even further, or before more restrictions come in. So we tend to find that there's a rush.
Are your interest rates lower like they are in America?
They're actually going up. They've been going up kind of consistently for the last year, and I suppose depending on who you speak to, there's conversations in the banks at least that we think that we're headed towards a recession, the likes of which we haven't seen before. So it depends who you listen to. We're fortunate. I mean, I'm quite fortunate in my job. We get to speak to the economists in certain banks, and behind the scenes, they'll tell you privately, look, we don't know what's going to happen. And I'm always very suspicious of anyone who says that they do or try to give you a sort of an idea, because the guys who make the behind the scenes for the big banks, they don't know. So it's very much an uncertain time, but it's getting better.
So
I think we're coming out the other end of it.
The unknowns are what the effect of all the debt is going to be.
Yeah.
Whether the levers that governments have to manage rates are going to have any effect at all, and whether there would be unconstrained inflation of some type in the face of productivity downturn, right? That's what people are worried about.
Yeah, I mean, to strip that back even further, I've said from the very beginning, I think there's two major problems here that this scenario has presented. I think the first is that, notwithstanding the severity of the disease, I think this is going to bankrupt more people than it's going to kill, particularly where I'm from.
For sure.
And secondly, we're dealing with an absolute tsunami of mental health crisis at the moment.
Hey, man.
There was a report actually recently, one of the GPs in a local surgery said that in one shift, which was 8 or 9 hours, she's dealt with 9 people who were suicidal.
Yeah.
So it's horrific.
Yeah,
you know?
that is categorically, that is the same thing going on out here. And the worst of it, there's two populations that are getting the worst of it: the drug addicts, alcoholics, and the late childhood to mid-teens. That's where the real carnage is going to be seen. Trust me.
I think young kids in their 20s too are really struggling as well.
And by the way, I addressed a little earlier how Dr. Fauci had been, ringing the alarm bells. There's been a plateauing. It's now down significantly. We're at 48,000. 48. We're at 300,000 cases on January 8th. We're now at 48,000. And the slope is down. It's slowed, but it's down, and deaths are down too, significantly down. Hospitalization down, and it's dropping. Maybe it's because of other ecological factors of this virus, or maybe it's, as Joe tells us, it is the meteorological aspects of the virus that are really having a full effect.
Excuse me, Dr. Drew.
Oh, sorry.
Wendy.
I agree with Joe. Like I've been tracking it. It seems like hot and arid, COVID hates.
Mm.
Hot or cold and moist, COVID loves. Like just basically.
That viruses usually prefer certain kinds of environments. Let me see what New York is doing. Susan, I need to see there we are.
Well, I was trying to say that we were in New York. We went into Times Square and we had to walk to a FedEx through Times Square, and it's just so weird. There's nobody there, and I mean, the characters are out there taking pictures with little kids, but
it felt unsafe for the first time in a long time.
See that?
Yeah, New York is down today. But
I mean, everybody had a mask on though.
Yeah. Linda, do we know you? Well, your mic's off.
Unmute.
You're still muted. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now we got you. What's going on there?
Hey, I've been a fan for a really long time. I'm new to locals, kind of.
Welcome.
I've been following for a while. I'm in Phoenix.
Nice.
Nice.
What's your last name, Linda?
My last
name? Well, I'm asking because I think we have a Linda. Have you been posting on locals?
No.
No. Okay. Then forget my question.
Have you ever met Tom Cigars? He's right above you. Can you see him?
Tom, are you in there in
He looks
Phoenix?
like Jesus.
A Japanese Jesus.
Well, thank you for following us. What's on your mind?
My mind?
Yeah. Now I'm really interested.
I keep you busy for the entire show with all my problems.
Oh, sorry. Want to give us
my immediate problem is that I'm on antibiotics
for
tooth problem, and my tongue is all white.
A thrush. Looks kind of green from here.
Did the white? What's the antibiotic you're on?
Clindamycin.
And they gave you that for the white tongue?
No, they gave it to me for a tooth abscess.
Right, and it's causing the white tongue.
I think it is.
Yeah,
but I didn't know if it was because I ate yogurt.
No, that's yeast. That's a candida overgrowth. Ask him for either a mouthwash, a nystatin mouthwash, or a Miselex lozenge.
How about some Halidine?
You can also take diflucan, which is a pill. You can take a couple doses.
That works really well.
Yeah, you take a couple.
Right.
But
Good to know.
But how long are they going to have you on the clindamycin?
Probably another 5 days.
Yeah, you got to get on something for your tongue quick because that yeast overgrowth can become really uncomfortable. It can start the cheeks and tongue can really start to burn.
Diflucan.
And you get cracks in the corner of your mouth and all kinds of lovely stuff.
Don't want that.
Oh, no, aren't you glad you came on the show?
Yeah.
See, look at my eyes. I have allergy things going on.
Oh, God.
No. I have AFib. I have pulmonary hypertension.
Ooh, what's the pulmonary hypertension from? Do they know?
Excuse me?
Do they have any idea what the pulmonary hypertension is from?
No. In fact, it's weird because all of my CT scans and everything, the arteries are good.
I was reading some literature on the use of Viagra for pulmonary hypertension.
I saw that. Yeah, to dilate the vessels.
Yeah.
I have a cardiac appointment tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah.
And atrial fib, is no big deal. Did they try to ablate it yet?
No, but I'm under control with it right now with flecainide. And but if that stops working, then I'll have to start on an ablation.
It's so funny. Flecainide is back. It was one of my favorite medicines, and I've seen the cardio.
It put me under control really fast.
Yeah, it's a good medicine. It's a good medicine.
I was on Sotalol, and that wasn't keeping it in control at all.
What were you on?
Sotalol,
yeah, that doesn't work that well. But they've been using amiodarone all the time for atrial fib.
Amiodarone.
I can't have that because I also have kidney function problems.
But that seemed to be their favorite thing, and then all of a sudden they brought flecainide back, which is like, I'm happy to see it. Because but anyway.
Well, my cardiologist said that I can only be on it because my calcium score is 0.
Oh, good. Nice. That's nice. So it's something else going on causing the atrial fib and all.
Yeah, I don't know. My siblings have AFib. 3 of my siblings do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm going to talk to somebody above you. Who is that above? George Clark? You're jumping around, George.
I just got up to grab a bottle of water.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was just getting a bottle of.
All right. You were jumping around so much that. Oh, better get. And how about Jessica? Somebody we've not talked to before. Jessica. Hi there. Where are you? Whoop, there's George.
No, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nice. I talked to somebody today on Instagram from South Carolina, and I was telling him how much I love the Carolinas. They're really so beautiful. There's a certain quality of life there that doesn't. Maybe Tennessee has it, but not a lot of other places don't have it.
No, it's a beautiful area. We're very close to the mountains. You can go skiing. You can be at the beach in 3 hours.
Ooh,
And
see, you
where
see.
I live.
There's another place besides California that you can do that.
Is that where the Montage Resort is?
There is a Montage Resort up in Ash. There's one.
That's where I want to move, Drew.
That's where you want to go?
Yeah, I do. I want to buy a place there and move there.
Ashford, is that where it is?
Asheville.
Asheville.
North Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful area.
Remember, Eric told me about it.
Yeah. I listen. I'm telling you, I know it's pretty there. I'm trying to get our kids to look at it because you could.
I don't think they have state taxes either. Right?
Everybody, no, they do, but not like, but it's not like here.
Not like here.
And everybody I talk to, whenever I go to one of the Carolinas, everybody, no matter what your job is, has a quality of life that they're excited about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. And the Carolinas have been very open through COVID. They recently, and it's honestly county to county how they're dealing with the schools or the restaurants or the bars or anything like that. The governor is giving people a lot of freedom under a certain basket of rules.
Hold on a second. What this freedom thing? What is that? This is free. This is free. Is that something that humans are allowed? Is that
There's state rules, and then some of the cities, right, are locking it down more than others, depending on the rate of infection here.
Right.
So just this weekend, they allowed bars to stay open until 12.
That's nice. By county would be better, I think, especially in LA and North.
Yes, except I don't know. Some of the counties have such unsophisticated, untalented people running their public health departments. It really, it's astonishing to me. But yes,
triangle is the Raleigh-Durham area, right? A lot of development companies, and I find North Carolina to be very enlightened in that way about being very rational about how they're dealing with everything. So
that's good.
Schools are up. They alternate days, different classrooms, things like that.
Has everybody stayed COVID free around you?
I don't personally know anyone that's had COVID.
You do now. Hi.
Hi.
It's awful. I'm here to
Caleb
tell you it
Nation
sucks.
just showed up.
Who did?
Caleb Nation.
Oh wow, Caleb's here.
Hello.
Hi, Caleb. How are you?
Hi. I thought I wanted to check out and see what it was like over here. I haven't been on one of your shows since like the Dr. Drew on call, like
HLN.
way back then. I realized that.
That's right.
It's crazy. I wanted to see what everyone was.
But back then I had to go, Caleb, do your thing. Do the thing.
So
make my weird viral.
Introduce him, Drew. Tell everybody who he is.
Caleb Nation is himself an influencer. He's also a social media savant and a technical savant who helps us here. He runs.
He built the studio.
He built the studio. He runs the Ask Dr. Drew show.
He runs the website. We started out working together on the website.
Yep.
He took it over and we built it up. And then he helps me make my banners, all those beautiful banners. And then he also, his wife is our screener and he puts on great shows. And we're just, we're one big happy family here.
It's like a big family.
Soon to get bigger.
Oh yeah. Oh, you heard the news. Yeah. Actually, that's why I'm a bit late today, is because we were out to the doctor's appointment today. Baby is growing great. Everything's perfect.
Congratulations.
So, measured and very happy.
Yay.
We're at the halfway mark now. So.
And he was able to move Ask Dr. Drew from March 10th to the 11th for you, Drew.
Oh yeah.
So you can overbook yourself a little more. But we're
being on camera.
I know. He's cute, huh, girls?
Aw.
Look at him.
I'm taken.
He's so
Baby
smart.
on the way.
He's so smart too.
Super cute.
You're gonna make me blush on camera here.
Somebody wants a link to you, Caleb. Nation.
Link to me. Oh yeah, Caleb with a K.
Yeah, so he's the guy. He's the brains. He after Drew did The Masked Singer, we shut down the studio for a month, and he goes, "Let's build a television studio." And I go, and Drew's like, "What? What? We're gonna spend money? What are you talking about? What are we doing? Why are we doing this?" And he goes, "No, we gotta get a show on Twitch. Okay, there's a thing called Twitch, so we need to have a camera and we need to build." And so then Michelle came in and she built it, and he got all the lights and he got up on a ladder and put everything together. And I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." And then he taught me how to use this computer thing. And
this computer, this computer type.
Every show I'm like texting him. I'm like, oh no, I can't get this to work right now. The sound's not working. He's like, push this button. Okay, wait.
Hours, hours of the day.
Let me look at the restream.
Well,
maybe it's not working on the restream.
We were talking about medical issues with Linda a minute ago, and you want to tell your tale of woe real quick?
Oh yeah, I've had Crohn's disease for, I guess technically for all my life, but I only found out about it about 12 years ago, and it just got progressively worse and worse. We tried medications, we tried, I forget what it was called now, but there was injections I had to do at home every 2 weeks, and just nothing would ever fix it. Humira, yeah, that's correct, exactly. That just stopped working. It worked for like 10 years, then it stopped, and then it just got worse and worse. And one time I was out of town over Christmas with my wife's family, out of state. And I woke up the next morning after flying out and I just couldn't sit up. I couldn't move anything. Tried new medication for a year, and eventually I had to get surgery last year. And actually, that's what we celebrated yesterday. It's been 1 year fully since I got this first surgery. That's right. And that fixed everything.
And it's been 1 year since I learned how to use OBS in your absence and started Dose of Dr. Drew.
But
because she couldn't work for 2 months and I had to do a show. We had a sponsor or something.
And it was suddenly out of nowhere, it just happened.
It's one of the dreaded things about.
But he's so much better. You finally had that big surgery, and they.
So one of the dreaded things about Crohn's disease is you rupture the wall of the small bowel of the colon, or it actually comes to the surface. You have fistulas. And if the wall ruptures inside, you don't know about it, you get abscesses. And you can get regions of the bowel that just die even. And Caleb had all that. So
he was in so much pain. I remember we had a show one day and he was having horrible pain, and he was like, he had to get through the show before he had to go to the hospital, like literally from the studio. It was like,
literally, I remember. I kept putting it off. My doctor was like, if you put it off one more day past that event, then we're going to be driving you in an ambulance. And I never stayed at a hospital. That was like my first hospital stay. Turned out to be, I think it was 9 days there the first time. Second time was like 6 months later. That was for like 6 or 7 days. And they literally, what happened was from the Crohn's disease, it had caused not a fistula, but like
abscess.
Tunneling, an abscess, and it had tunneled. It had gone so untreated for so long that it tunneled through there, leaked into my leg, where I couldn't lift my right leg. I couldn't even barely walk.
It was in your psoas muscle.
Psoas muscle, exactly. And that's whenever it started getting weird. We had to physical therapy. I thought, well, maybe it's just a muscle thing, and the X-rays showed no, this is way more serious. And then whenever I went into the surgery, we already knew it was bad, and they already did the surgery. And then the surgeon comes back and he said, some of the stuff we didn't even see on the X-rays when we were like looking at this in the first place. He said that there was something growing inside of my intestines that he says he has never seen in a living human being before. They actually took like 15 centimeters of my intestines out, and they took those and to study it, to figure out how this was even possible to get so bad.
How you could live with it.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. This is why.
It to Nicole and Jemmy to put on her Instagram.
Get it checked. If anybody has these types of symptoms, it may not just be a leg that it's difficult to lift up.
It's why medical evaluations are important, that you don't assume anything. You listen and you look and you figure out, that you think of all the possibility. That's what we do. And once you assure yourself it's none of those things, then you go to physical therapy.
And then you got into the hospital right before the whole COVID thing.
Literally. It was. They were still talking about that cruise ship. When I was there watching TV, paging through it, it's like when I went in, there was hardly anything, just that one cruise ship. And then by the time I was leaving, they had a station set up at the door. You had to get temperatures checked. I left to a whole new world outside of it.
So Caleb and Dr. Drew, can I ask you a question?
But before you do, I'll one quick second. Susan, you mentioned a name that I can't believe we haven't had on the stream in a long time. Let's get Nicole up here.
I know.
Get Nicole and Jemmy in here. Yes, ma'am. What's up?
I was wondering if Caleb is going to get the immunization because he's on Humira or not on Humira. What does your doctor want you to do?
So I actually, after the surgery, I actually haven't been on any medications for Crohn's disease since then. I was on Humira for like a decade. And then I was on Stelara for a year after we thought the Humira had just stopped working. But after the surgery, I haven't needed it at all. It's almost like they took the Crohn's disease completely out of me, and I haven't any problems.
Yeah, it's like he had very local active disease that killed some bowel, and that was where his Crohn's was. There it was.
That, and I prayed every single night that the boy would heal.
That too.
Oh my God.
That too. I had a lot of people praying for me.
That's so sad.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm tempted to send Nicole an email right now. Get Nicole in here.
Yeah,
Can't believe we haven't had her. Can't believe we haven't had
Let's
her.
get her on
here.
Ask Dr. Drew. Let's get her on there. She hasn't been on that one.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
she
wonder
can
what
do
she's
it.
up
She can
to.
do a stump the doctor thing where she shows me a bunch of crazy pathology that I can't identify.
Oh yeah. Those are always
fun.
great.
All right. Let me look at the panel again, Susan. There we are. I think I've spoken to everybody. Keith, are you new?
I don't know if we met Dax.
Wait,
I'm
first.
not new. If you want to go to new people and come back to me, that's cool.
Well, go ahead. You got the mic. Go ahead and tell us what you're asking.
Well, very good. Hey, we have some reason to celebrate around here. My wife got her Pfizer shot 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And she didn't qualify. We vaccine chased. She
Good for you.
waited for leftover. And
It's God's
it was looking
work.
pretty dicey there toward the end. But
That is-
she managed to make it in by the skin of her teeth, and she cried when she walked in. It was
Aw.
amazing.
And as
I
you
was
know,
so
she is mostly covered by the single vaccine. I still advocate for getting the second, but she's moving out of the woods into
That's
freedom.
great. Yeah, she's scheduled for her second dose on the 20th, and we're planning a trip to Florida for 11 days. After we're totally clear, we're looking at about 8 weeks out.
It's awesome.
I'm really interested in what you just said, though. I wanted to get your take on the emerging data on vaccine efficacy on viral spread. So a vaccinated person passing COVID to others.
Yes.
There's been some emerging data on that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I see lots of stuff trickling in. Pretty much everyone is agreeing that earlier, like within a few weeks of vaccine, there's no spread. There's some data coming in out of Israel that suggests well-vaccinated people do not spread. Now, you got to remember, no vaccine is 100%. So somebody's going to get sick on the vaccine, and the people that get sick are probably able to spread. But that is going to be a relatively small number. And if your immunogenic response to the vaccine is adequate, they can't spread it to you. This is the part that everyone's leaving out of the equation. They're like, they're spreaders. Not if everyone's vaccinated. Even if they have the capacity to spread, if we get sufficient numbers of people vaccinated, now you've got unlikely spreading, unlikely, let's use the word catching or contracting. And that's what we're looking for here. And Israel shows that that is a real probability. Did you see that stuff?
They're also finding that in the emerging data that even those who might get it under those circumstances, the viral load is a lot lower.
Very mild.
And
Yeah, well,
so
that for sure. That everyone is expecting. See, everyone's expecting that any illness is going to be significantly reduced by the vaccine. But there's still a lot of consternation around the capacity to spread. And we also now, did you see there was a big study came out today that said older, heavier people are the prime spreaders.
Oh, wow.
And we know that kids don't spread it. There's documented kids do not spread to other kids. It just does not typically happen. There have been cases of child to teacher spread. Not if the teacher is vaccinated, that won't happen. But it's very rare. But there is student to teacher.
It's not zero.
And so as you get older, it seems like the spreading potential is higher too. So okay.
One other last thing I wanted to ask you is, my wife won't have full protection for 5 weeks.
Correct.
Should she avoid seeing her fully vaccinated parents until then? They've had both their shots and they're in the clear.
Ooh, that's a really interesting question. To be perfect, yeah. But in another couple of weeks, she's probably pretty good shape. I mean, I guess the usual question, I don't know what it is about the human mind, but this is the usual question that comes into our head, which is, you're almost where you need to be. Why not get all the way there? You know what I mean? Even though it might be safe to cut it a little short.
The lights we can see the light.
Yeah, go all the way. Get into the end zone before you. Why cut it short?
Last thing, I tripped on a dog toy and dislocated my kneecap 4 weeks ago. I just had an MRI today, and I just got the report on it. And
I
waiting
totally
to hear
get
from
it.
my doctor.
I totally get it.
Worst pain ever.
Yeah, dislocated kneecap is no big deal. Did it pop back in, or did you have to pop it back?
I was able to get it back into position within like a minute, and it was awful. Looks like lateral aspect of the partial high-grade tear involving the medical.
Is it all loaded up like a golf ball?
I can actually walk on it now. I was in a walker for 2 full weeks.
Do you have like a big lump on your knee from it?
I had quite a bit of swelling. It's gone down about 2/3 over the 4 weeks.
Are they gonna have to do anything with this?
I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear back from my doctor after my doctor reviews this report. But it says possible lateral meniscal tear,
That's
chronic MCL tear.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, you're gonna get an arthroscopy. Sorry.
Somebody just said I laugh when people fall. I'm sorry, you guys.
Were you carrying ice cream?
I was carrying a yogurt parfait in my right hand.
Oh, bummer! You had yogurt.
But-
At least you had ice cream.
Are you kidding? It's true.
I would say.
Dairy.
I would say expect arthroscopy. It'll be interesting if they don't do it, but I say get used to the idea that there's likely an arthroscopy.
I'll never eat ice cream again.
Not while climbing stairs. That's right. Listen to Kristen. Hang on. Show me the panel again, Susan.
Okay, sorry. I don't mean to laugh. It's just so sad that we're all falling all over the place. I'm going to be next now because of it.
Should I wait on my Florida trip, Dr. Drew?
No.
Well, surely until you talk to the orthopedist, till you get cleared. Dax. Hi, buddy. What's going on? You're new to us.
Well, not new to locals. Just haven't checked into one of these. Been working usually. I just want to get your thoughts. I actually had COVID in September. I had a pretty bad case of it.
Yep.
Like a couple long haul symptoms for about a month or so, and it went away.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's awesome. Isn't it? It's awesome.
My wife also contracted it, and we actually have her in-laws who are in their 70s, one of which has one functioning lung, and the other one is bedridden with Alzheimer's, and they didn't contract it at all.
God.
Or if they did, they were asymptomatic. So it was kind of touch and go for a bit. But
do they live with you?
Live with us.
Well, we know that there are people. Once we figure this all out, there are going to be people that don't contract this thing. I'm totally convinced of that.
Yeah.
And what exactly that is, whether they have the immunological capacity to fight it off, or something about the configuration of their ACE2 receptors, they don't get it. So.
That's what I don't understand. It's like I was literally in the hospital before they were doing all these steps, and my wife was working at a gym before, and we thought for sure I definitely would have got. I was on immunosuppressant medications for years before all of this going on. Weakest immune system, the weakest possible time, yet I still haven't gotten it. I got the test for antibodies, still haven't gotten it. I don't understand. I'm in Los Angeles. I mean, maybe it's because I don't leave the house as often. It's like the only place I go is home and literally
our house,
like the studio, right? It's the only places that I go. And I don't want to jinx it by bringing the topic up, but I don't understand how I haven't gotten it, and strange.
Yeah, I wouldn't test fate. I wouldn't assume you can't.
I know they should give you the vaccine.
Yeah, you should have the vaccine. Your comment is coming up on it. It's coming up soon.
Yeah.
But Dax, I see you're also a Kings fan.
Die hard Kings fan. So, yeah, I'm a big Kings fan. So actually, there's a second part to my comment. My wife and I both actually received the Moderna vaccine, both doses of which. And the thing that we see that we're out in public, we purposely try to not wear masks. Is that people will approach us and ask us to put masks on, and we'll say, "Oh, we already had the virus," and then now we actually say and have the vaccine, and people are still with this mindset of,
Yeah.
no, you have to wear a mask. And
Yes.
I'm like, what on earth are people thinking?
They're not.
It's frustrating.
They're not. It is pure. It's virtue signaling. You're part of the crowd.
Don't I say this every day?
Susan, we talk about this all the time.
Every day.
You're signaling that you're going to protect other people, even if you aren't going to protect yourself. And this is why we're having trouble coming out of this thing.
I know.
We have so thoroughly panicked the population. Teachers are scared. They're being unrealistic in terms of their risk. They can't assess it because they don't know who to believe. They've been absolutely sent into outer space by panic, and now they can't begin to assess rationally. You heard Susanna a half hour ago just saying that she can't listen to the press. She doesn't know what's real until she gets away from it, starts to assess it for herself. She's able to do it. She's smart. Not everyone can do it, and not everyone is willing to do it or is motivated to do it. And so they're actually gratified by this whole thing. I don't understand it. There are people that seem to be into telling other people how to live. That's the strangest impulse in the world to me.
What about in our gym? I mean, I'm 61. I'm wearing a mask. I'm working out, and I'm alone. And I'm dying. I'm hyperventilating.
The one of the funniest interactions around this was about 6 months ago. I was talking to Adam Carolla on the phone, and he was walking on a horse trail where there's zero chance of transmission. By himself, but they had closed in California. They closed everything outdoor, the places where we should have been spending our time to prevent COVID spread. They prevented us from going into.
We're going to get trouble on YouTube, but who cares?
And some government official, some city official came in and started, saying, caught him as he was crossing the street from one horse trail to the next. And he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And Adam said, "Where's your mask?" to the guy, just trying to put him up. And he goes, "Where's your mask?" He goes, "I asked you, where's your mask?" And he goes, "We got to put up some barriers here." And Adam said, "Yeah, you should put up the tank spikes that they had on Omaha Beach. That's what you got to do to keep people out of there." And I was hearing this whole interaction. I thought, boy, that is how crazy.
I saw a guy. I was going to get the housekeeper her vaccination at Dodger Stadium, and I saw a guy on a bike riding by himself outside the outside of the stadium, and he was all by himself with a mask on. And I was thinking to myself, how far do we have to go? I mean, this poor guy can't breathe, and I mean, come on, can you just take it off his nose so he can at least breathe while he's riding the bike, and then when he gets close to somebody, put it back up? Like, how have we convinced so many people? It's astonishing.
Yeah.
But that's my head. I don't know. I just think
it's just a lot of craziness, and then you add all the political craziness on both sides. It's hard to know what to think right now. It's just really gone to and not as Eric and I. Did I get your name right, Eric? Am I getting your name right? Earlier, is that we become actively delusional. People are just generally delusional, and in your delusional state, rationality has no utility, right? It's
I rarely ask here in the Carolinas, rarely.
Yeah, I listen. I have more antibodies than.
But they never ask you on the forums, have you had COVID or have you had the vaccine? Like, nobody's even been mature enough to ask those questions.
Nobody's preparing for there being a large population of people that are immune. They're just not preparing for it.
They should have a box you check that says.
And my suspicion is the reason they're not preparing for it is because it's not fair. It's not fair if some people are immune and some people aren't. That's not fair.
Or is it just legally not going to? I don't know.
Look, Dax and I are extremely immune. Dax is doubly immune. There's now Dax. There is a reason for you to wear a mask. To be fair, I don't know about you, but I don't want to get this thing again. And there's a finite possibility you could get exposed to a variant. I mean, that can happen, right? You're only probably 60% covered by the vaccine, and we don't know whether people have had COVID or at risk for the variants. So you could get a variant. So it's not totally irrational to wear a mask.
I'm part of Carolla's camp where the store rat model, I purposely wore one of those gaiters because I figured I wanted to get sick so that I could get it out of the way.
You did it. Well done.
Fortunately, because of where I work, I was able to get the vaccines, and I'm thinking if I get one of the variants, then I'll beat that thing too, and then I'm just going to be done with that version of it as well.
All right,
and
fair enough.
Run through all of them. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, and you're young enough that that's not a complete. As long as you don't get other people.
Almost 50. I shaved this morning. So
But the risk. I always worry that people people that are being cavalier are also gonna spread it. You could walk around for a few days and not know it. It's complicated. Let's be fair, but I get your point of view.
So we were on the plane and they said, okay, you can take your mask off to drink a sip, but you have to put your mask back on in between sips.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's every time you get on the plane, it gets a little bit different.
Yeah. So my antibodies are 10 times, probably about what yours are. Mine are 10 time average vaccine level, and I'm measuring them every 3-4 weeks. And for me to wear a mask.
So Drew, what's the next step? How are we going to come out on the other side? That's what I want to know.
Well, let me just tell Dax, I'm going to bring a woman in here. When is she coming in, the mask lady?
I'm asking for Wednesday.
So maybe a woman Wednesday who's she says she's a physicist and a particle physicist. Leopold would love this, Joe. And she has all kinds of actual science on aerosolized virus and masks. Now, that doesn't address the issue of droplets in masks, but it's going to be interesting to talk to her and hear her point of view.
She just confirmed. Okay. Mamasaurus Meg.
Okay, I just like getting I just like hearing different point of views, and you kind of see that things that go as conventional science or just matter of fact are never matter of fact in science.
So Caleb, your guest is Mamasaurus Meg on Twitter, so he can make a banner. She sent me a picture. I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hooray!
Another banner. Yeah, she'll be good.
All right. Well,
almost 5, but you got me, Susan.
and Anthony, you were waving your hands like mad a few minutes ago. Did you want to say something?
Yeah. Here's one of the things that's kind of frustrating me from my end, because we've gave our entire psychiatric hospital vaccinations, and now that some are stabilized on their medications, people don't believe that they're capable of making the proper choices when they go out into the community. Can you explain to people that once you're properly medicated, you can make adequate choices?
Yeah, let me just say, this is what drives me crazy. One of the many things, as you know, Anthony, drives me crazy about the homeless population. The people that are out there sick and dying can not only be housed, they can be recovered. They can be recovering and be returned to maybe not their pre-illness state, but they can be returned to a potentially flourishing and certainly functioning state, and rationality, your thought processes remain quite intact when the psychotic processes settle down.
Bless you. Oh, it's 4. It must be 4 o'clock.
Excuse me. Yeah, always around 4 o'clock. But yes, people with psychiatric illness are not. Their cognitions are intact. Let's just put it simply, that they can still work, they can still make judgments, and sometimes, in fact, we use their cognition. Something called with cognitive behavioral therapy, we use the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex. People even with thought disorders, to help them be able to identify their delusions, identify their hallucinations, so they don't succumb to them. And then their thinking gets used by it. But the thinking itself can be quite appropriate. Is that about right, Anthony?
Yeah, because, we're trying to figure out how do we resolve this homeless thing, but if people are getting stabilized and they feel you don't believe them, then what's the use of even trying?
I totally agree with you. I agree. And this is we don't even get a chance to try to stabilize people, right? You rarely do. And once they're stabilized, there may be some people that can't go out. There are some people that need kind of custodial type care, or might need some longer term care before everything's fully restored. But that's practice of medicine. That's getting people well, right? The goal is to get them where they are in their right mind, and they are able to think, and they are able to reason without being encumbered by anything else. No, we got to be able to treat people, and that's the part that's missing right now. I got to wrap this thing up. I've got to do Fox 11 tonight. I guess I will be doing Fox 11 for the next couple of weeks. I said I wasn't sure I would be, but it looks like I will be. Alex is not in tonight. It'll be Marla. And and we're got a lot of interesting stories.
Did they miss you?
I guess so. Enough to bring me back. So I'll do a few more weeks, and then we're going to do a really interesting thing. I hope we do more than one show, but it will have been 1 year that I have been at Fox 11 here, this local Fox affiliate. Yeah, we've been doing a show every night about COVID at 7:00 Pacific time, and we're going to do a look back on a week from Friday. And I hope we do like 2 days of looking back, because there's so much stuff to look back on and all. And there is us on our usual, our usual time zone, 7:00. Well, guys, this has been fun. Thank you for being part of this Zoom. I hope I got to everybody.
You guys are so great.
Yeah, you guys are great. It was fun to talk to you.
Considering I just decided to do this a half hour before the show.
Yeah,
I'm glad
Susan.
you guys are on the email.
Yeah, I
emails
need time to do my hair, Susan. It hasn't had a haircut in a year.
Oh,
But look, this is the okay thing about Zoom. You don't have to show your picture. We understand.
I wear my black eyes with
Hey,
brown.
Dr. Drew, can I ask you a quick question, Dr. Drew?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. So have you ever heard of a sinus lift for people that I've had to have like 3 tooth extractions, oral surgeries, like in the last 2 months?
What did you call it? A sinus
They
lift?
told me a sinus, like a lift, because of the bone loss in between the sinuses and my teeth. And I'm having tooth loss from grinding. And
I have definitely seen lots of peculiar phenomenon between the teeth and the sinuses, right?
Okay.
Stuff happens. And I've seen abscesses erode into the sinuses. I've seen the sinuses erode into the teeth. I've seen, and I don't have good ENT judgment myself.
Yeah.
So what an ENT would use to decide, what to do and how to do it in response to all that, I don't have good judgment about that. That's not something I routine. But I've definitely seen it. Definitely seen stuff like that. Yeah. How are they still using a lot of bamlanivimab with you guys?
We've had a couple, and then it was a little bit upsetting because we were having Kaiser call us to see, but our hospital Kaiser won't, what's the best word?
Cover it?
Contract with us.
Oh, yeah.
So we can't get Kaiser because they were trying to get us to have some of the Kaiser patients come up for the bamlanivimab. But we've had about 4 or 5 now because we finally gotten onto the Washington State website.
Good.
But not as many as we'd hoped. But
And they have a combo now, right? A bamlanivimab with something else?
yeah, we don't have that one though because I'm at a smaller hospital. But yeah, the ones that have the 2 different antibodies.
I cannot encourage that enough to people. It's so good. It's so effective. No downside. It's already paid for by the government. Please take advantage of that.
Yeah, one of our patients was maybe a 78-year-old woman, and it was similar to you. Right when we were doing the infusion, she started to feel a big difference and feel a lot better. So it really makes a difference.
Super crazy. Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Okay, before we go, I want to say something.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. When we talk about all these COVID-related things, sometimes we'll get in trouble from YouTube. So I just want to tell everybody, if you're on YouTube and you see that we're not doing a show, check us out on Twitter or whatever, Facebook, if it happens. We're available on Periscope through Twitter. We're also on Twitch TV, Dr. Drew TV. We're also on Facebook.com/Dr. Drew. So you can just head on over there if anything happens. And I don't know. We'll just hope for the best.
Steve Kirsch, our fluvoxamine advocate, says he now has a way to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a 23-year-old coder in Thailand picking up words. So if we end up like just silenced on YouTube, there are other places you can go, and you can meet the people on the other platforms too.
That's true. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are in tomorrow. Who's the guest tomorrow, Susan?
Tomorrow we have your Dr. Rock Knock.
Oh,
I need to pull up his pictures.
From the Rubin Report?
Caleb, help me. What's his name? No.
Oh, this is a virologist. Oh, this is a guy who I saw on... Yeah. No, this is a guy I saw on TikTok. He is really good. I recommend you guys show up tomorrow. He's a virologist. He does COVID updates every day, and he is a very clear thinker and communicator. And I just told Susan, I said, we got to get this guy and put him on the stream.
And we got him.
And he...
you got him.
He has built viruses. He understands viruses.
Booked him.
Well, I found him and got him and tracked him down, and I didn't take no for an answer. But I think you guys are really,
he looks really cute.
You're really, really, really going to like this guy. It's not going to be sort of epidemiological. It's going to be more biological.
So I don't have his banner up.
You know,
Caleb, you worked
answering
hard on
some of
that.
the questions that, like the stuff that Dax, tomorrow will be a perfect day for you to show up on the Restream and ask questions to this guy. So some of those nuanced questions you're asking, I'd love to hear what this guy says about that.
Yeah, he looks really good. He kind of looks like Caleb, and he's really cute and sassy.
Yeah, and we will get I'm going to pick his brain tomorrow. Please be a part of it. I'll watch carefully on the Restream to make sure you guys get your questions in there too. All right, see you all tomorrow.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Uh-oh. There's supposed to be an ad right there.
Well, we'll just keep chatting then.
Well, there wasn't an ad right there. Where'd that Halliday ad
I got
go?
some good news for you. Caleb's right here.
Hey, where's the Halliday? Wait,
where is
let's
it?
see.
This
Oh, there it
pandemic,
is.
we were
Here
not
it is.
Sure how
Bye-bye.
it spread. Everyone began wearing masks and using hand sanitizers.
This is
Great ways to
sponsor for
slow the
like
spread. A lot
anti-slip
of people still get
stair
sick. I can
tracks.
personally
Susan?
We now know that COVID-19 spreads via aerosols and
Yes.
droplets from the nose and mouth.
You
And
gotta
I've been
turn 'em
thinking
off.
about this for a while. Why aren't we also sanitizing the
audio?
nose and mouth, killing the virus directly at the place where it
Everyone
spreads?
is
Should I
going
Why
narrate
weren't
it?
more doctors thinking about this? Well, some
Just
doctors
muted 'em.
have done the research. Wish I discovered it sooner. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Halidine. It's an FDA-registered antiseptic for the nose and mouth that's proven to eliminate 99.99% of the virus that causes COVID-19 in just 15 seconds. That's right. It's created by a team of clinicians with decades of experience in antiviral
It's so funny
treatments.
when you see all the
Initially
new
created
people
to protect
drop off
healthcare workers.
when it's over,
These are smart
and the
scientists.
regulars
It's a
all hang
great
around for
product
the
that
after
also
party.
eliminates many other
Rory.
viruses and infecting particles. I'm using
How-
both their
Rory,
nasal
you did
antiseptic
great.
swab
It's so
and
nice
their
to hear you.
oral
I had no
spray
idea you
to
were a
help protect
financial
those
advisor.
around me, and you should be too. For
Well,
others and for yourself.
yeah.
Whether you're
That's
hopping on
cool.
a 3-hour flight,
Hey,
always
Chris,
use
I
it there.
came in
Visiting
late.
grandparents or
That's
attending a
right.
meeting that you can't miss. Halidine's family of oral and nasal
someone else.
antiseptics give you the safe, easy, on-the-go antiviral protection for up to 4 hours. I encourage you to try Halidine at halidine.com today. My listeners get 10% off with the discount code Dr. Drew. That is HALODINE.com, discount code DRDREW. So obvious. It just makes sense.
Real talk.
Headlines have become it's sickening. They become poisonous.
Dissecting headlines.
Defying state orders. Sheriff Bianco not enforcing what the governor is saying.
Dialed in with decision makers.
Clarify what you actually meant.
Get the answers you need.
At the beginning of this, we were told don't wear a mask. Is this really helping?
Expect a different kind of newscast. Fox 11 News Special Report. Weeknights at 7.
As we're gradually moving back to opening schools and businesses and, of course, our in-person interactions, I want to remind you, this is all time with cold and flu season getting going. Staying hydrated is key to helping your body deal with the added stress and with the upcoming flu season. My regular fans have heard me talk about a product called Hydrolite for a long time now. It's an amazing rapid rehydration drink. It's a mix that, well, we're obsessed with here. I'm excited to announce they've just released Hydrolite Plus Immunity, just in time for cold and flu season. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and adds a host of immune-boosting ingredients. Each single-serve, easy-pour drink
Are we
mix
still
contains
muted?
1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 300 milligrams of elderberry extract, creates what is hopefully immune-boosting formula that's high in
think so.
antioxidants and zinc. Combining this with Hydrolite's 7 key electrolytes, it's a fantastic way to stay proactive and properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks
not
that
abused.
rapidly dissolve in
I'm just
water and make a
clumsy.
great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink.
Oh,
She's
man.
It uses all natural flavors, and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, and it is vegan. And you can find Hydrolite Plus by visiting hydrolite.com/Dr. Drew. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use our code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount.